Alright, so in this lesson, we're going to look only at trapezoids. And so your goal for this lesson is I can find the area of a trapezoid. And so for this lesson, you're going to want your blue formula sheet with you in addition to your notes. So we're going to start with your blue formula sheet. And so you're going to want to draw the image of the trapezoid and the formula, and it's sideways just so that I could write it bigger, but you're going to want to write it the correct way on your page. And so as you can see here with the trapezoid, the top of the trapezoid is called base 1, and then the other side of the trapezoid, the other bottom side, is called base 2. And then you have the height. So just like with a parallelogram, the height of a trapezoid is from the tallest point to the lowest point. The height is not slanted. That's very, very important. Your formula for the trapezoid is area equals open parentheses base 1 plus base 2 close parentheses times the height times 0.5. So we have an example here. Our base 1 is 5 inches. Our base 2 is 9 inches. Our height is 3 inches. So let's go ahead and solve for the area of that trapezoid. So my formula, which I always start out by writing, is area equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height times 0.5. So area equals, my base 1 is 5 plus 9 times the height, which is 3, times 0.5. Order of operations tells me to do what's inside my parentheses first. So area equals 5 plus 9 is 14 times 3 times 0.5. Now, when I multiply all of these together, 14 times 3 times 0.5, I'm going to get area equals 21. And because it's area, we're going to do inches squared. So it's going to be 21 inches squared. Alright, so let's move on to some actual examples. Now you're going to see here that the trapezoids that I have here in the examples, they're not always facing right side up. Sometimes they're upside down, sometimes they're sideways, and so you're going to have to pick out where the bases are. Now the bases are always going to be the two lines that are parallel, and remember that parallel lines are lines that never touch. And so these are going to be your parallel lines here, because these are lines that will never touch. Okay? So let's start with your height. So your height is 1.3 centimeters. Your base 1 is 1.4 centimeters. And your base 2 is 2.8 centimeters. A question that I get a lot is, so it doesn't matter what I put as base 1 and base 2. Not really, because ultimately they get added together. Usually base 1 is going to be your shorter base and base 2 is going to be your longer base. But it really does not matter if you want to get technical about it. So then let's go ahead and solve for the area. We always start by writing out our equation. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height times 0.5. So area equals, open parentheses, 1.4 plus 2.8 times 1.3 times 0.5. And I need to get my calculator. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to do is work inside my parentheses. So I have 1.4 plus 2.8, and so that's going to be 4.2. And then I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. When you get to this step here, you can just multiply all of those together. So you have 4.2 times 1.3 times 0.5, and that's going to give you an area of 2.73 centimeters squared. Alright, next problem. So here we have a right trapezoid, and I know that because it has a right angle, but that does not make a difference in the formula. I just wanted to point that out. So our height is from top to bottom, and so that is going to be 8 inches. Our base 1 is 9 inches, and our base 2 is 13 inches. So let's start off by writing the formula. A equals, open parentheses, base 1 plus base 2, close parentheses, times the height, times 0.5. So area equals 9 plus 13 times 8 times 0.5. Area equals 9 plus 13, that's going to be 22, times 8 times 0.5. When you multiply all of that together, you're going to get the area of 88 inches squared. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so this one is also sideways, but again, you just look for those parallel lines and that'll tell you what your bases are. So your height here is 5 meters, okay? That's from your highest point to your lowest point. Your base 1 is 7 meters and your base 2 is 15 meters. So your formula is area equals base 1 plus base 2, inside parentheses, times the height, times 0.5. Alright, area equals 7 plus 15 times 5 times 0.5. Alright, area equals 7 plus 15 is 22 times 5 times 0.5. And when you multiply all of that together, you're going to get 55 meters squared. Not bad once you start working with the formula. Alright, so now we have a trapezoid that is on a coordinate plane, and it's going to work the exact same way, but you just have to find the dimensions. So let's find the height. Remember, we go from the highest point to the lowest point. So we can go over here, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 5 units. We're looking for base 1. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Base 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. And the rest is just calculating. So, area equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height times 0.5. Area equals, so our base 1 is 4 plus 7 times 5 times 0.5. Area equals 4 plus 7 is 11 times 5 times 0.5. And when you multiply all of that together, you get 27.5 units squared. There you go. Alright, so go ahead and you try this one here. Make sure that for each one you are writing the formula. Go ahead and hit pause if you're not done with this one. So for this trapezoid, you should have gotten 39 yards squared. And go ahead and check my work if you did not. Let's go ahead and try the next one. Alright, for this trapezoid you should have gotten 126 millimeters squared. And again, if that's not something that you got, go back through my work and figure out where you went wrong. Did you plug in the bases wrong? Did you forget to multiply times 0.5? So go back and check my work, because if you showed your work properly, our work should match every step of the way. Alright, try this one here. Remember, look for those parallel lines to find the bases. Go ahead and hit pause if you're not done. So for this one, you should have gotten 77 inches squared. And for this one, the bases were these parallel lines right here. So 5 inches and 9 inches. And then 11 inches was your height. All right, and then the last you try is this guy right here. You're going to have to plot the points. Alright, so for this one right here, once you plotted it, it was a trapezoid that was sideways. So your height was 3 units, your base to the left was 4 units, and your base to the right was 7 units. When you plugged all that in, you should have gotten 16.5 units squared. Alright, now let's do a couple of word problems here with trapezoids, and then we will be done. So a trapezoid has a base of 4 feet, another base of 8 feet, and a height of 3 feet. Draw a picture of this quadrilateral and determine the area. So all that we're doing here that's different is it's not giving us a picture. We need to draw it and then find the area. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw it. And you can draw it sideways if you want. You can draw it upside down. So it has a base of 4 feet, has a base of 8 feet, and make sure that you draw the height properly. Remember, the height is not this slanted line. The height is from the highest point to the lowest point. And then we'll go ahead and fill in this here. And then let's calculate our area. So we'll write our formula. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height times 0.5. So our base 1 is 4 plus our base 2 is 8 times our height is 3 times 0.5. 4 plus 8 is 12. Bring down the rest of the problem. And when you multiply all of that together, 12 times 3 times 0.5, you should get 18. So our final answer is that trapezoid is 18 feet squared in area. Okay? Let's try another one. A trapezoid has a height of 10 meters and two bases with a height of 13 meters and 6 meters respectively. Draw a picture and solve for the area. So this was a little tricky because they used the word height twice, and you had to read it carefully because in that specific example, that height was talking about the bases. Okay, so I'm actually going to draw this one sideways, and you don't have to, but just to sort of get your brain thinking differently, I'm going to draw this one sideways. Okay. Alright, so it has a height of 10 meters, and then one base is 6 meters, and then this other base is 13 meters, right? So our height is 10 meters, this is 6 meters, and this is 13 meters. So let's write our formula. Area equals base 1 plus base 2 in parentheses times the height times 0.5. So area equals, we have 6 plus 13 in parentheses times 10 times 0.5. So 6 plus 13, that is going to be 19 times 10 times 0.5. And when you multiply all of that together, you should get 95. So the area of this trapezoid is going to be 95 meters squared. All right, go ahead and try this one. Make sure that you draw the picture. Alright, so when you calculate this one out, it should be 15 yards squared. Okay, so you had 3 yards for the height, 4 yards for one base, and 6 yards for another base. Alright, one last one. Alright, hit pause if you're not done. So for this trapezoid, the area should be 64 inches squared. You have a height of 8 inches, one of the bases is 5 inches, and the other base is 11 inches. Alright, that is the end of the trapezoids lesson. We're going to do more practice in class, but let me know if you have any questions.